The history of classic Roblox story game. This was a category on Roblox that was very popular back in 2019. It was a time on Roblox where if you had 20,000 players in your game, it meant that you were sort of one of the bigger games on the platform. And in 2019, the developer Poncho Kings created the game Airplane Story, which would ultimately change this category on Roblox. The game was simple yet challenging at the time. I remember playing it when I was younger with friends, and I thought it was a very hard game to beat, but now it kind of just seems like a funny game to me. Like, I couldn't even take it seriously as soon as I saw the monster in the game. In the game, you spawn in an airplane and have to deal with the really random events. You get poisoned by the airplane staff, have to save someone from exploding, and ultimately you have to try to defeat the monster that caused all of this. The game immediately sprouted in popularity and was one of Roblox's biggest story games at the time. It got millions of views on YouTube, and for the next few years, Poncho would go on to make multiple sequels to his Airplane story, branching out to Airplane 2, 3, and stopping at 4. Each game had its own vast storyline, but managed to still share a common theme of airplanes. You know, kind of like the game's name. I will say Airplane 3 was definitely my favorite one. I mostly liked the building up into catching their target and how it was revealed where the target was, but I will say that the ending was lackluster though. Don't get me wrong, I did like how the target was revealed and it was the person flying the airplane, but tell me why we land in a place with some people dancing and call it the end. It kind of made no sense to me. Now, one of the other most popular classic Roblox story games was known as Camping, and although this game has lesser visits than Airplane, it didn't stop it from being just as popular. This game was actually the first major story game to blow up, and it ended up becoming the setting stone for story games on Roblox, including Airplane 1. And this one, you and your friends go camping and try to survive. For some reason, you don't pack stuff to help you while camping. During the several nights that you're camping, you're trying to survive a monster, which is kind of what most of the classic Roblox story games were. This time around, the monster is kind of really just toying around with you the entire time. The game ended up getting over 300 million total views across YouTube and other socials, and it turned out to be one of the biggest story games on Roblox. Now, the biggest game of them all was created on September 9th and came to what is known as the biggest, greatest classic story game on Roblox, Break In. It's mostly a wonder how this game still gets 15,000 active players up to this time. And to show you how big that is, there really aren't many games on Roblox that would average this much after not having a big update in a year. And the reason why is that there are just many secrets and endings to this game. The game has over 4 different endings, and the game's objective is simple. You just have to survive the purge for 5 days. Of course, dealing with all the drama that comes with it as well. You end up having to defend yourself from villains that attack the night, and this game was the one that left a good impression on me the most. I'd say it's still definitely a lot of fun to try and beat the game and get all the secret endings, and I assume that's what most players are doing, because if not, I don't know why this game has 15,000 players. The game has over 18 badges and got over 445 million views all over YouTube. Break-In surpassed all other story games by a huge amount of visits, and it's really a shame that this category really isn't looked on much anymore. You might say games like Rainbow Friends, Doors, and Piggy are practically the same thing, but to me those games don't have the classic feel as the other camping and story games do. And maybe that's just because they've not been updated in a while, but that's how it feels. Piggy does have most aspects of it, but it kind of gets too complicated for me at least. I also would say Piggy is a bit more advanced when it comes to the story and how the game is played. The classic story games kind of felt like a close community within Roblox. It was kind of something like the old Roblox, how it was. Seeing developers that were eager to update, grind, continue, and release hype in a Roblox game rather than just chase money was sort of refreshing to see. And while it is sad to see this kind of era go away from Roblox, I guess the developers can't just really release the same game with like 24 parts or something. Like, imagine Airplane 1, but now there's like 36 parts, so like Airplane 36. Yeah, that would be wild. It's sad to say, but the hype died and the newer classic story games didn't fit the direction that Roblox was going in. It was the fact that the times back then were so much simpler and Roblox was less complicated as it is now. Not only were the games and Roblox in general much simpler, but most importantly, the community was. I will say that this definitely has to be one of my favorite eras on Roblox for sure.